ever do.
I've been trying to. It's been a hectic week.
I mean, that's certainly a word for for this week.
Yeah.
Hectic is, I think, a decent way to describe it. Yeah, I'm gonna make a alert for this too.
Yeah. Join at the black link
That's me.
at Nim Plays
Hi.
and at Danfinity,
Him.
where the eyes are eyes. We're gonna tag her tonight.
You just have to make it a little bit annoying.
Yeah,
Just
just a
annoying
little
enough
bit to remind her
to
that
make
she has a
her
Twitter account so that she uses it again, so I can't get it for another 6 months. Thanks. Yeah.
to remind her that she has a Twitter account that belongs to you. That's all right. It's that type of passive aggressive action that we live for.
Yeah.
It's why we're here.
Yeah. That's why I exist. I was an act of spite by my parents.
Wait, against who?
Each other.
Against whom?
Oh no.
So okay. So
Uh,
if you were an act of spite against each other, who
Yeah.
won? Who
well,
wins that
It
encounter?
could be
Dan
said,
did because he's
well,
here now.
it could be said that everybody lost.
You know, it's funny. Because I feel like that story there, the story of your life, is perfectly represented in the plot of Destiny 2 Beyond Light, with mom and dad being, Aramis and Varix, and them having a little baby out of spite, and that baby is you, Dan.
Yeah. That baby was me.
And they
in
both.
game and in real life.
And they both lost
Yep.
that battle. Oh, the way we start this show. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 261 of the Planet Destiny podcast. It's time. It is finally time. Destiny 2 Beyond Light is officially out. We've had a little bit less than a week to play that expansion now, and oh man, do we have some stuff to talk about this week. We're going to be going over our feelings on the story, the campaign, the plot, the post-campaign stuff, how Beyond Light has affected the rest of the game. We got the Return of the Cosmodrome. Crucible is certainly in an interesting spot. And of course, with Season of the Hunt coming up in just a few days, we've got even more content on the horizon. All right, today we've got our usual roundtable of hosts, including Mr. Nim Plays.
Hi.
Hey, good to see you, buddy.
Likewise. Wasn't gonna miss this
Happy
one.
meeting. Oh, absolutely not. We've got some stuff to talk about. Good to have you here. Yo, Dan, how's it going, buddy?
It is going well. How is everybody's week of release so far?
Pretty good. I would say pretty darn good. I've very much enjoyed Beyond Light.
Heck yeah.
Yes, sir. And of course, my name is the Black Link, and with that, let's just go ahead and dive on in. I guess kind of expanding upon what Dan just brought up there. Beyond Light itself. I figure we can start this off kind of the way the expansion does, throwing us right into the story with the Beyond Light campaign itself. I think it's a pretty good campaign. I think it ranks up there pretty well with some of the best of content that Bungie's put out for quite some time. How do you guys feel about the campaign mode, the story, and all that?
Nim, you want to start us off?
You know you're contemplating something over there.
Me
I know
or
what you're
Dan?
contemplating. You're sitting here thinking of other ways you can screw people over in PvP, but that's later. We talk about that later.
It's okay. I thought the story was all right.
Mhm.
I think Aramis and her lieutenants are very interesting characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
That being said,
I love that phrase. It always means something good is coming.
that being said, I'm a little tired of the same Destiny story formula.
Yeah.
Bad guy gets thing, we go to fight them so that they don't get thing, they end up getting it, and then we end up getting it, and then we end up we end up getting something from them and displaying it on something.
It's just a little. We've hit that repetitive nature. It's like I know exactly what's gonna happen, how it's gonna happen, and how it's gonna end.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The
Mhm.
Beyond Light ending, however, and we are going to be getting into spoiler territory with some of the campaign stuff here. So you have been warned. If you haven't finished it by any reason, just skip ahead just a little bit. Skip ahead, or and if you're here live, I'm sorry. So it does the ending of like the main campaign for Beyond Light does leave it a little bit open ended with Aramis being frozen.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
if you played the Empire Hunt, Dark Priestess, they clearly tell you that she's not dead.
Yeah.
Aramis is just encased, like in there. So who knows? I mean, that leaves it open to where like they could potentially bring Aramis back in some point in Destiny's future, but like one of the gripes that I've had with like a lot of the Destiny campaigns is that they introduce these really cool characters with really cool like unique backstories, and they just only use them for the campaign. With Aramis, I thought that like she was a really good setup for a character that can start off as a villain and eventually kind of like work her way around. Because I mean, they give a lot of backstory that she's resentful towards the Traveler over it leaving their homeland, and her and Varys used to be friends and stuff like that, and
they used to bang.
whoa.
I mean, we've got Dan here. We established this already.
Whoa.
Listen to the pre-show, guys.
That's right.
So yeah, I don't know. I felt like that could have led, they could have taken Aramis in a little bit more of a different direction towards the end of the campaign. But I enjoyed what I played regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I agree with a lot of that, especially when it comes to the characterization of Aramis. I thought they did a good job of introducing her as a compelling new character and, putting her plight forward. You and I had, I don't think I'd call it a back and forth, but we had one little interaction on Twitter earlier this week where I was like, I was talking to Joker, who's another person in the community, and about how I didn't really feel like we had initially a very good reason to even go after Aramis. We kind of just show up on Europa for no real reason, and then we're hunting her down because a person that we had immediately considered a traitor told us to.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like we got really the best sort of motivation for taking her down until we got to the Glassway strike. Ooh. When we found out that she was about to open a portal to the Vex homeworld. No, that is disallowed. Go ask Crota how well that worked. Go ask Oryx how well that worked. If there is one universal truth of a universal evil in the Destiny universe, it is the Vex homeworld. You do not open a direct portal to the Vex homeworld. But you're absolutely on point when you mention that Aramis has all these different kind of character plot lines. We learn a lot about her history, from being a ship stealer and all that kind of stuff to what she learned in the Prison of Elders, seeing the mistreatment of her fellow Elixni by Varix and kind of by us. And the story, I think, makes some really pained points to show, oh, well, she's doing this because she really believes it's the right sort of thing to do. And it would have been really cool if, like, towards the end of this, rather than her freezing herself because she lost control of stasis or whatever, she kind of has a coming to the light sort of moment there rather than being, a bit of a generic villain. And I think they foreshadow that. If that's going to happen in the future, who knows? They talk about sending somebody, I guess this is kind of spoilers, this is about midway through the campaign, into the Deep Stone Crypt to prepare the body. We don't know what they're preparing that body for. That's the thing.
Oh, I heard that, and I was just like, let's fucking go. Let's get after it. Come on. Like, what? Show me the body. Show me the body.
Having read a lot of the lore tabs for Beyond Light and utterly spoiled myself on so many amazing things, I feel like we know what that body is going to be and who that body is going to be. But you're right when you say that they left enough room for Aramis to come back as another character, and I kind of wish they would have just done that in the first place, rather than generic bad guy gets bodied immediately, completely forget about her. By the way, the Drifter and Eris were in this story. Remember how they were a huge part of the marketing
cinematic campaign? Yeah, it was
how
great.
They just like hanging out by campfires.
Yeah, that's it. You just talk to them once in the story, and that's it. And I think that's another one of those really weird narrative points where like it just wasn't fully explored.
Well,
what was the point of that?
And who knows? Who knows? Had they been given like full resources of the studio, what they would have been able to do. Like, this is what we got from a stay-at-home year, right? This is what we got. I mean, granted, there's probably development prior to that, but this is... I'm looking at it as a piece of art that is done in this era, and maybe I'm a little bit more forgiving of where some of the threads dangle.
Absolutely.
When today I went to go at the end of a stream, I went to go raid someone that somebody in our community had hosted up, and they immediately were talking about the price point, right, and how it was kind of how they felt it was kind of a ripoff.
Yeah.
Like with everything that we got, and it's like I don't, at this point I don't even want to have that conversation. It's like it's not. It's Longview. I feel like this is kind of amazing to see what they've been able to do with the constraints that they've had. I'm always been a huge fan of seeing that kind of work. My guess is probably originally Drifter and Eris had more of a they probably would have had more of an expansive role. Had things worked correctly this year, but as we know, like, not everything did. So I'm whatever, if that makes me a shill or like searching for excuses, whatever.
I think the working from home thing is definitely something that obviously could have taken a toll in the development process of Beyond Light, but we also have to take into consideration that they no longer have High Moon and Vicarious.
Right.
Those are two studios that helped make Forsaken the size that it was. And a lot of people kind of don't remember that. And two, Bungie probably has a team working on another game. It's probably not the same full team that they had like dedicated to all of Destiny throughout like Destiny 1.
That's true.
So you have to take into consideration that there's probably just like a smaller team, and smaller, couple hundred people compared to like what they could have had beforehand. That's why, I mean, Luke Smith said it in that Twitch interview that we're not going to see a Forsaken sized expansion anytime soon. So the type of stuff that you see now, it's most likely what we're going to get for like the next 2 to 3 years. Get used to it.
Yeah. if you stick around, and that's probably the size that you're going to see.
Yeah. When you were referring to the body TBO of that cutscene with Aramis, do you guys remember when they were showing the cutscenes of like her history back in their home planet, and they had this brief section where they showed Aramis with like her lieutenants standing side by side her. Did you all really take a gander at those lieutenants when they showed that picture? Because there was a very familiar face on there that I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't see you in the campaign, but you're more machine than fallen anyway.
Tannix?
Wait, what?
Tannix.
Is it Tannix the homie?
There was one on that looked exactly like Tannix.
I think
so. Prepare the body.
Oh boy,
that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. And like, I do believe Tannix is in the game files right now. There's some kind of reference to him being an upcoming content. I thought it was Season of the Hunt, but you're right. That might be the raid. Uh-oh.
Here, I'm
So
gonna.
when-
So I was actually talking with this with iMaximizing on Twitter. I'm gonna drop the link here in chat so you guys can take a look for yourselves.
Mhm.
But yeah,
So
you're
you
right. It's 100% Tannix, the homeless.
he kneels before no house. He pays no rent
Yeah.
to no landlord.
He pays no rent.
Again, this is just speculation,
Okay,
but
yeah.
Tanix very clearly looks like he's in that group of people or group of fallen with Aramis.
That's
Very
cool,
much so
man.
does, yeah. Tannix
So-
has no couch.
Yeah, shows allegiance to no futon. That man is futon agnostic. He will sit wherever he goes.
Oh my god. So good.
So
Rude.
yeah, the campaign, I thought it progressed pretty well. It's clearly styled after the Forsaken Baron hunts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think with a better setup. I like the entire system for the Empire hunts. I like that they're repeatable, and I like that they task you with doing open world things before you go on the hunt itself.
Mhm.
I feel like
Yeah.
that is a fantastic way to get people to continue playing in the patrol world space. Every time I'm loading up into Cadmus Ridge or the Asterian area, I always see people going through the startups for the Empire hunts there, whether it's defending that conflux and then fighting that giant servitor, or fighting those platoons of fallen out on the frozen wastes. And I
Mhm.
think it's a great overall system, and I love that some of the new weapons, the few that there are tied directly to those Empire hunts, so that it's a great way to kind of farm those things out. And in particular, a few of those weapons are really good. The Coriolis Force is the new fusion rifle. Is a little nutty. It's a fusion rifle that condenses all of its shots into like a single beam and fires perfectly horizontally.
I
So
need
it just
that.
It
fires a
reminds
straight beam.
it
It's so
reminds
weird.
me of like a Borderlands gun because I think there's a
Yeah.
shotgun
There's-
that does the same deal that it shoots.
Yep.
There's a sniper rifle, I think.
Yeah, it shoots them all like 4 or 5 pellets horizontally, but they like go
Right.
far out, and of course it's Borderlands, so it goes out and then calls your mother a name
TK's
and all that sorts of stuff.
TK's Baja Wave.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
Because I know there's a sniper rifle that does that. That shoots a horizontal, like volley of bullets, and there's also the TK Baja Wave or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need that fusion rifle anyways.
It's
I'm
good.
gonna have to play
Real
for it for a little
strong.
bit.
But yeah, I like this setup of the Empire hunts. I think they're a pretty good repeatable activity. I like the way they told their story. This, supporting characters there, Cretus or Phylax, Praxis, all them, I thought were good for the little missions
Curtis.
they've got there. And Curtis, is that what we're calling her? Her name is Big Curtis.
I actually really
Yeah,
like those
I like the
Empire
campaign.
hunts.
Me too.
Those
I thought they were
those
pretty-
characters are really really cool. They're really well designed, and now I was really happy to see them being used a little bit more than just for the story purposes, and you can go back and fight them again. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah. The
Pretty
the campaign, how did you guys feel about the breakup of the campaign? Because you'd have like story, then you'd have fetch quest from the Exo Stranger, you'd go do another
Right.
thing, and then story, fetch quest from the Exo Stranger, you'd go do another thing. Story, like, how did you like that breakup overall in the campaign?
Are you talking about main campaign or like post campaign?
I'm talking main campaign. Like when you had to go unlock the different like the 4
Oh yeah.
aspects of the darkness, I guess, or it's stasis.
Sure, at that
I-
point, I was just like, just hand it over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bungie did something really interesting with Beyond Light here, in that they introduced this new subclass, but you don't get full access to it until you beat the story.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was great. I thought that was a fantastic way to handle this. And by the way, I apologize if you hear the sound of rumbling in the background. There's a rocket going up. I live in Florida. This
Okay.
happens every weekend or so. It's like an earthquake in the sky.
The drifter's coming in, guys. Don't
Oh,
let
he's
him.
coming in hot.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
when I was playing through the story, I got baited something fierce when I was playing through the
Okay.
story. So when like you first get stasis, it overrides whatever super you have going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
y'all
that's
know
bad.
me. Y'all know me. I play Void Lock Blank like 100% of the time. So when I was playing through that, and they give you stasis and it overrides your thing, I
Ooh,
pop
yeah.
stasis and I'm using it, and like midway through using it, I notice something. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm still blinking while using
Really?
stasis. Yeah.
Oh,
So I got so excited because I was like, holy shit, they actually did it. They actually gave blink to stasis,
Mm-hmm.
right?
nope.
So as I'm going through the story, beat it, unlock the actual subclass, and when I went to go check the ability, like the jumping thing, I'm like, fuck.
Rest in peace.
Sad
Yeah,
sad about it.
that's gonna be an
This game has
F.
never baited me so badly, dude.
I love it so
So
much.
badly.
I love it so much.
Oh, so
Um,
bad.
yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like, after like the first couple times, it's like, all right, come on, please, like,
Yeah.
just give
See,
it to
I
me.
felt that way. I felt that way more towards the end. Once you have to start unlocking the aspects and the fragments,
Mhm.
that's when I'm
Oh
just
yeah,
like, oh
that's a
my
grind.
god.
See,
Yeah.
I'm actually fine with that part of the grind. I feel like,
Mhm.
yeah, those are the parts that they should be having you grind out for. When it comes,
Let me clarify.
okay.
I'm sorry. That's fine. I meant like on multiple characters.
Oh no, yeah, you are correct.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
yeah, because I've run the campaign 3 times now.
Oof.
Each time,
Oh
well,
my
I mean, in
god.
order to get it on all 3 characters, so that even
Mhm.
though I'm a Titan main for 2 seasons, I have to. I'm still leveling out characters, right? And I was like, I might as well do it now rather than later and put off the inevitable. I'll just bite the bullet.
Right. Yeah.
We'll go through it and see what happens. So I went ahead, ground out all 3 so that they were able to get the subclasses. I get why they do it because
Mhm.
we've seen what it does to Crucible, and yes, the people who are going
Oh
into
yeah.
Crucible and being total b-holes with the abilities, Nim.
AKA warlocks. It's okay. We accept it. I
Yeah.
accept it willingly.
Like, you should have to sit through maybe 3 hours of stuff you don't want to do before you unlock that.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's
So
more than a fair point.
yeah, it was fine the first time. The second time, it was last night. I unlocked my warlock and I got to UFO boss. You know the one I'm talking
Mhm.
about, where he just gets shielded every
Yeah.
time a UFO shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
that guy. Fuck that
Mhm.
guy.
That
And
fight sucks.
it's just worse because okay, I'm sorry, I gotta calm down. So I had I would go in, I'd start shooting shit. I'd get him down about a third, as is the way, and then he'd shield up. The UFOs would go on. I'd keep moving. I was using a pulse rifle, by the way. I'd keep moving.
Got it.
He would freeze me and
Yep.
then stomp me immediately just by teleporting to me and just being like, not today. Bah! And like he'd get me. And then in order to, the mechanic for thawing out is the most frustrating thing in the game right now to me. I know.
Let's talk
Mhm.
about it.
Oh, okay. So it's tied to your class ability.
Mhm.
It can eat shit and die.
Yes.
And
Twice.
yeah, that's That's the most negative I'll get about Destiny.
This is what it took. All these years, everybody. This is what it took. Being caught in stasis and being punished for properly breaking out. That's what it took to break Dan. And he's 100% in the right. 100%. It's an awful
Games
mechanic.
throughout history have taught you, and I understand that for accessibility reasons, people want to hold. Okay, fine. But video games throughout history have said, I need to thaw out of this real quick. How do I do that? You just hit the button over and over and over again. It doesn't even need to be a quick time event. You just hit the fucking button. That's it. That's all you gotta do.
This is the way.
So yeah, I yelled "God damn it" in the middle of the night. Probably I want to say at 1:30, and Jenny raced up in here and she was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "This fucking boss, man." She was like, "You need to go to bed." So
no, you're absolutely right, 100%.
I don't think I've ever seen Dan tilted like that. The
Oh,
only
you
other
did?
time I saw him, yeah, I was about to say the only other time it was with the Anthem, and I don't even think it was this aggressive. Oh my god,
So
that's
bad.
some 10 out of. So when I was going through the campaign, I was massively underleveled for a lot of it because I just wanted to push through, and I wanted to unlock stasis really, really bad. So when I got to the Aramis fight, the second half, when you're out in the outside portion of that boss battle, I was tickling her health. It took me a solid about an hour and a half to actually go through that boss because I resorted to cheap tactics to beat that as underleveled as I was. I stayed in the that front platform of where it divides the outside and the room where the first fight. That's where I stayed the entire fucking time. I just kept throwing down those glacier nades just to make walls in between.
Glacier-nades?
And I would just
Glacier-nades?
Yeah.
Glacier-nades.
Glacier-nades. Like that. Okay. So I just kept popping those, right? And it about 40 minutes into a run, I got her health down to the last quarter that she had, and I made the mistake of getting ballsy, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I can I can be aggressive now. I can be aggressive now." So I pop my super, I jump over my wall because I'm defended. I jump over my wall. The first thing she did was just freeze me mid-air as I was jumping between the platforms.
Yeah.
And there I went.
You sank like a shit.
Rest in peace.
You sank like a lead balloon, didn't you?
I did. And finally, the second time around, I went full cheese for that fight. I didn't peek out the only times I switched to Wither Horde.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I did. That's all I did that fight. Glacier-nade, peek out of the side, boop, Wither Horde, and then just go back in and just wait until and just wait until the dot stopped, and I would Wither Horde the middle for when the ads spawn and they would start running. I'm like, no, you're not getting here, bud. You're not coming over here. No. So that fight took me a solid hour and a half because I was massively underleveled and just using Wither Horde the entire fucking time.
It was I understand the mechanic.
Yeah.
I understand wanting to put it in because it is freezing is cool, right? It's freezing things is cool as is seen in the Crucible now, which is anyways. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it overall when it takes me out of a boss fight. It just adds a layer of frustration in a mechanic that feels like I have no control over. It's as bad as a stomp mechanic. And when it's paired with a stomp mechanic, when it's paired with a stomp mechanic, it's even more frustrating.
It's not a very intuitive mechanic at all. I see why it's in the game. I see how it works. I don't mind being frozen in place, but I think the methods and mechanics surrounding it definitely need to change.
Yeah.
There's no reason you should be losing health for properly breaking out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You should be losing health for not breaking out of it. The way it works right now is when you get frozen via stasis, which happens in like 1 or 2 ticks of ice damage in PvE and any tick of ice damage in PvP. You have to hold your ability button, whatever that key is, and you'll break out of it. But when you break out of it, it instantly takes you to red. So what winds up happening in PvE is you have one of 2 choices. You can get hit with the ice, try to break out of it, and then get immediately headshot or stomped or anything by the myriad of enemies that are surrounding you in a lot of this content. Or you can sit there and wait until you break out on your own and don't take damage. I don't know why they set it up like that. One, I think you're absolutely right. The entire history of gaming has taught us you get frozen, you mash to break out as
Yeah.
quick as possible.
And
I wish they would handle it like that. And you talked about this on Twitter earlier this week, Dan,
yeah.
and mentioned mash buttons to get out of it. And I think I added on there, yeah. And the faster you get out, the less health you lose.
Yeah.
You should not be getting so severely punished for properly breaking out of this mechanic that is a core part of the game now. And it's you see how problematic it is in PvP. It's
Mhm.
extremely problematic in PvP because
Oh,
you're
it's
one shot from everything once you're out of that.
I played some comp today.
Oh no.
I had been warned not to play comp. And
Yeah.
after I got that new grenade that kind of gravitates them in toward the middle and then
Oh,
starts
I hate
freezing them
that
over
one.
time.
Oh no.
That's real fun in control because it takes up an entire control
Yep.
point. It's also real fun if you're on which map is it? It's the one that's in an old tower. It's from
Bannerfall.
D1.
Oh, Bannerfall.
Bannerfall.
Yeah,
And
Bannerfall.
Bannerfall, I threw it at the door to the side of B as 2 people were coming through it. They got immediately frozen. And I
Yeah.
was able to take care of them very quickly. I am not a good PvP player. I should not have that power.
Yeah.
It was weird. That was weird. I don't like it in PvP. Or like they should lessen the duration or something, or like make it a slow instead of a freeze.
Yeah.
Because
Something's got to be done.
yeah.
Because as it is right now, this is not tenable for Crucible
Yeah.
moving forward. I was listening to Fireteam chat earlier today, and they talked a bit about it. They had Paul Tassi on there for this week's episode, and I think his point was like, they feel like nobody did any PvP testing with this at all, because if you had done any PvP testing with this, you would see immediately, oh, this is a problem. Instant freeze with punishing mechanics like this is a huge issue. And Nim mentioned it earlier, but we haven't even talked about the suppressive effect this has. This completely takes you out of your super. Your super doesn't get any extra resistance against stasis. As soon as you get hit with that ice, you're immediately frozen and taken out of your super. If you're using a one-shot super like Nova Bomb, it just ends the Nova Bomb. It's gone. If you're using a roaming super, it takes you out of that roaming super. If you can break out without dying, I think you get some of that. You get to use some of the rest of your time in that super, but good luck doing that. You're frozen so long, and you take so much damage breaking out. It's trivial. A trivial thing to kill.
Okay, so it can be frustrating, right? But
Oh yeah.
one of the complaints for the longest time in the PvP sandbox was that there were too many roaming supers and that there was no way to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a way.
You do.
There are a lot of things that need to be fine-tuned. Obviously, well, not a lot. I actually think stasis works pretty well in PvP.
It works really well.
The problem isn't how well it works.
Yeah.
Actually, the problem is how well it works.
The thing here that I think that does need to be kind of like reined down a little bit is primarily like in the Warlock stuff. I haven't played any of the Hunter. I don't really do Hunter gameplay. I've played Behemoth. Behemoth is a lot of fun. Like I'm actually I gravitate a little bit more towards Behemoth than Shadebinder currently, but when I do play Shadebinder, it's very clear that the Warlock melee is really strong.
Oh yeah.
Very clear. And if I'm a scum. I'm a scumbag. So I've been pairing it with Monte Carlo and Claws of Ahamkara. I'm gonna abuse the shit out of it meanwhile I have it. And it's strong. I think if they were to rebalance the Warlock melee to actually bring it a little bit more, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Warlocks is the only one who has a 1 charge ability that can freeze immediately. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think the Hunter takes 2 stars in order for it to freeze. If they wanted, the Titan one sends people flying and then it slows.
That was insane to me, especially the targeting on it and how no, I actually got it down to a science where like, oh,
really?
I got him in my crosshairs. I just hit the button and basically I'm a heat-seeking missile that's going to then bust his ass, and if he's near a wall, he's gonna die, because that's just how hard it hits against the wall.
Really?
And if he doesn't
I've been
die,
having
he's
a
gonna
rough
be
time
slowed
tracking.
significantly.
Okay, so what's the secret there? Because I've been having a really rough time landing solid hits.
You have to hold the button down.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just hold the button down and you have to let it go like a split second before you actually get close to your target.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Weird.
I actually anyways, before we track off.
Sorry about that.
Warlock, the Warlock melee, to bring it in a little bit more, I believe, as someone who's using it, if you want to freeze with it, you need 2 charges. The first charge should slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first charge should slow and suppress, just exactly the way that the hunter throwing star uses, and then the second one should freeze. Because you're stacking that, because you have to use 2 charges, and if you really want to freeze something. The second thing that I do think that the Warlock kit should kind of take a look at is Ice Flare bolts.
No, leave them alone.
They're great. They're great, but they just chain a little too much.
Oh my goodness!
Like if it would have like it does have a cooldown though. Like I think after 4 chains, it has like a 7-second cooldown. But I think they need to maybe rein in a like 1 seeker or 2 down, because it's really strong. Right. Granted, I think one of the reasons why a lot of people are seeing this, that is, it's too strong and it's too overpowered and stuff like that. It's because you're, in matches like Control, you're gonna have people that are nut to butt when they're controlling a spot. So if you're chaining those kills, those seekers are gonna go in after one another. But like I said, I think that those honestly largely is probably like the 2 biggest things in the Warlock kit, because the super can be strong, but I actually feel really, really like kind of like paper mache with it. I've been killed out of my Shadebinder super so many times. The actual bolts themselves don't have super aggressive trekking, so you have to make sure. No. Yeah, so you have to make sure that you actually land those. And I know a lot of people are making a super huge deal that the big blast can like hit through walls and stuff like that, but the damage is minimal.
If you're not frozen, the damage from that blast.
Right, if you're not frozen, it's minimal. If you are frozen, then you will get shattered. But I think that's fine, because that super is so slow.
It's very slow.
It's so slow. So I don't know. I think that's probably like the biggest criticism that I would have with the Warlock kit.
Yeah, I think a lot of those changes would be rather fair, and alongside a change to the way being crystallized works, maybe making it so you can break out faster, or making it so that you lose a little bit less health when you do break out, I think would go a long way towards making the Crucible a less, we'll say, frustrating experience for everybody out there still playing as the normal light subclasses. Because you're trying to go up against a bunch of stasis and you're using like Night Stalker. Rest in peace.
There have been arguments, but that the light subclasses should be just as zany. Like instead of
Yeah,
bumping stasis down, just bump the light
bring them
subclasses
up.
back up and let them
Mhm.
go
I think
like nose to nose in it.
there's merit to that because after one of the things I really like about this expansion is I said it earlier. You don't fully unlock stasis until you complete the campaign. I thought that was an interesting move on Bungie's part because it keeps you playing and then it gives you a goal after the story. Your goal after the story becomes upgrade stasis and get the aspects and fragments. I think I'd probably get a lot of support if I said it's a little long and rough to do on 3 different characters. There were quite a few times where I'm going through like the Exo Stranger quest, and I'm like, okay, so I just did this nonsense in Gambit, which I hated. Is this the end? Oh, nope, another step and another step and
Yep.
another step. But I like the fact that your post-game grind, your post-campaign grind is upgrading the stasis subclasses.
Yeah.
And I love the customization there. The stasis aspects and fragments that you get are significant. They're not minor changes to the class. Like Nim talked about earlier, getting the ice flare bolts makes the difference for your grenade in PvP. Getting, what is it, cold snap that acts like a slightly slower arc bolt.
Mhm.
You just throw one into a room, it spawns like an Axion bolt, searches everywhere around, freezes one person, then Ice Flare starts up, and suddenly you got an entire frozen enemy team. These aspects and fragments make major differences on these classes. I want to see that for the light subclasses. Traveler's Awake now. It could do to dole out some upgrades to us. I want to see this type of customization on other subclasses moving forward, and thankfully, I think Bungie said that they were going to be looking at doing that sometime down the line. Because
Yeah, they're
you're
using
right, Dan.
stasis
This is
as kind
great.
of
Bring it up.
an experiment to see
Yeah,
how
testing
it
kit,
goes.
Yeah.
and I think it's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm enjoying it. And for as crazy as Crucible is right now, I'm still having a lot of fun with it. I'd be lying if I didn't say I've had a lot of fun in
Mhm.
Crucible for the past couple of days. Even including the weird stuff like the Wither Horde glitch earlier in this week. I don't know if any of you guys have whipped out your old Luna's Howl or Not Forgotten in the last couple of days.
Mm-mm.
That's not working as intended right now. It
Okay.
Oh,
is
What's going on with it?
absolutely. Oh my god! And I guess telling everybody this is fine because literally everybody can go grab one
Yeah.
from that kiosk now. So Bungie did a nerf to Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten's Magnificent Howl perk. I think like last year, where they knocked down its damage a little bit. That
mhm.
seems to have been undone with the move to 140. So it fires slower, but the Magnificent Howl perk, like the damage numbers on it, are not
Oh wow.
correct. You're
Okay.
dealing way more damage with Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten than you're supposed to be. And
Interesting.
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not super duper dominant because auto rifles are really good right now, and pulse rifles are really good. There's a really good. Did you guys get to see the new Hopscotch Pilgrim?
Yeah,
Oh, which
yeah, Starry Sky or Starry Nights or something like that.
I have.
Yeah, Stars in Shadow or something like that.
Yeah, I got one and sharded it. Should I not have done that?
Oh, you should not have. You
Fuck!
should not have done that. Rest in F's from my man. Oh my gosh, F's from my man in chat here. Yeah, no, that it's a really really good pulse rifle.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
would
been really
I would
fun.
not.
I got one with surplus and like head seeker,
Ooh,
Mm.
and I have
yeah,
one with a quick draw and moving target, and it's pretty solid.
yeah. It's and there aren't a lot of new weapons in this, and I guess at some point in this show, before we move to questions, we should
Yeah.
address the sandbox. The weapon sandbox
Yeah.
resets and then sunsetting and all that kind of stuff. But the few new weapons we've got in this have been really interesting. I talked about the Coriolis Force fusion rifle earlier. Nim, you got a pretty darn good rocket launcher that you told me about earlier in the week. What did that have on it?
So I got the new rocket launcher. I believe it's called Sub-Zero Salvo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mine dropped with Ambitious Assassin
Ooh,
and
rough
a
perk.
new perk called Chain Reaction,
Mm.
which is basically Firefly
Yeah.
but for rockets or grenade launchers, because I think you can get this on a grenade launcher as well.
Mhm.
But it's really good because like if you get like a crowd of ads, and you kill them with a rocket launcher, you just see like all these like multiple explosions coming out of each individual ad that you kill based on the elemental
Mhm.
that that it is.
That's really
And
cool.
when you reload, you'll have 2 in the magazine instead of the 1. So it's actually really neat. I've been having a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah, I've been trying to. Is there a way to farm those? Because it's not a drop from the Empire hunts.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I've gotten like 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to figure out how to get my hands reliably on one of those. Hopefully, those Empire Hunt rewards will swap on a weekly basis because there's a new Europa bow, there's a
Yeah.
shotgun, there's that pulse rifle,
The
and
shotgun is fun, dude.
I
It
have heard a
is.
lot of good things about the
I
shotgun.
got one with
It's a
Dragonfly.
slug shotty.
I got one
Oh,
with
did you?
Dragonfly, and it is nutty.
What?
Yeah.
That's
What?
awesome.
Yeah.
Why? Why is there dragonfly on a shotgun?
It's a slug shotgun.
Fuck the rules.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
new world, dude. I'm sorry for cursing so much, but like
Damn.
that's where I'm at. That's where I'm
Did you
at with
slap the
this.
dragonfly spec on it?
I did.
Nice.
Dude, and you know that would actually mix really well. There's a as a part of the artifact this season, there's a unstoppable mod for shotguns. So you can make a super explosive dragonfly slug shotgun build with that. Neato.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's real
hopefully
dumb.
there's a way to farm those.
Yeah.
I want it.
Well, and there will be. Like you get those
Mhm.
from the Empire hunts, right?
I don't So the
So
3 weapons that are available from Empire Hunts right now are the light machine gun, the bow, and the Coriolis Force
right.
fusion rifle. I'm hoping that
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 rotates
those
out.
rewards change. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope so too.
Maybe they start dropping once, or like the more you clear of that
Yeah.
whatever
Oh
that option
yeah.
that Barracks has, that like the tier 1, 2, and
Oh
3
yeah,
like
yeah.
things that you can complete.
Mm-hmm.
Weird
Maybe they'll
syrup
start
tower
dropping like
thing.
maybe they'll start dropping from like Europa or
Yeah.
whatever as you
Mhm.
complete that, because that looks like one of those. Oh, there was another. There was another version of that we had prior.
Undying did that with the
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
and like basically for the past 3 seasons we've had some variation of that
Yeah.
as
Right.
like a knockout list. It's just
Yeah. Oh,
when
and
you have to pick-
Arrivals had it as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Arrivals had it too.
Yeah. So it's just
I think it's going to be part of like those, like once you start unlocking those will start dropping from the
Mhm.
game like the game world a lot more often.
what level are you guys at on your season pass?
It's a good question. 22.
I'm in the mid 30s.
Okay. I was going to say once you get to about like I want to say it's like 29 or 30, there's a scout rifle in there
Right. Yeah.
that is I liked it. It's the first scout rifle in a while that I've been like, huh, I might use you.
Oh, this might be worth it.
Yeah, it's called the Royal Chase. The first one that you
That's
get.
the.
What?
I was just to say that's the reprised scout rifle, right?
Yeah. It
Right.
is arrowhead break, flared magwell, auto load and holster, and dragonfly on the one that I got.
Okay.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah. And did you guys happen to turn in bounties from previous seasons?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was turned onto this by one of my admins for current meta. Did you know that the thing that they said would happen didn't happen?
Oh, the whole we're going to revamp EXP?
Yeah, well, no,
Yeah.
not that portion. The portion that was like,
Okay.
hey, don't turn in those bounties from previous like vendors, because if you do,
Oh,
it'll stunt
yeah.
your growth. Not the
Yeah.
case. It did
Not at
not
all.
happen that way. So
Hmm.
that I was able to use after being scared off and using some of mine in the previous season.
Yep.
I still held on to quite a bit of them and had like at level or more drops from vendors using those
Why are
bounties.
you always lying? Speaking of, I find that's a great segue. So Bungie talked a bit about how they were going to be changing the way EXP works and the way you earn EXP. They said they wanted to make it so that core activities give you more EXP, so that the best way to level isn't just to grab bounties and head into a lost sector. So I want to ask everybody here, how's that working out? Is grabbing a bunch of bounties and heading into a lost sector not the way to level anymore?
Well, except for that one day. I I did it that one day.
Yeah. So, of course, earlier this week, people noticed that the moon bounties were giving you 12K. Well, you could get up to around 12, almost 13,000 EXP, by running repeatable bounties if you had some of the EXP boosts from the season pass, and of course, masterwork your ghost, everybody. This is an SGA for everybody. Masterwork your ghost. The gains you get from masterworking your ghost are huge. Not even just for the EXP gain. I think there's a mod you can get on there for like 15% of bonus EXP or
I
whatever.
think it's 12 at max.
Is it 12?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's other great mods on there for like gathering resources, for getting extra drops from core activities and strikes and Gambit and Crucible. All that's great. But something to take note of is the fact that Bungie nerfed Moon repeatable bounties, so you wouldn't get that much EXP from them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
They
They didn't
also
nerf any of the other ones.
they did on one. On Tuesday night, it was explained that the Widow's Walk in the EDZ
Oh yeah,
was
yeah.
was dropping. I think each time you killed the boss of that lost sector, he dropped up to +10.
It was because he dropped a legendary.
Yeah, he dropped a
It,
legendary, and I did that on all three characters. Ended up at
as you
1200.
should have.
Yeah, because use it. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that was working is it was actually any lost sector that had a wanted escapee from the prison of elders. So you could go to the lost sector in Widow's Walk, or you could go to the Winding Cove lost sector, any of them that had prison of elders bosses. What they were doing is they were dropping at a 100% rate legendaries, which under 1200 were like guaranteed to be up to like 10, 12 points above your current power. It was a ludicrous way to get to 1200 real quick. But what I'm talking about is the repeatable bounties. That was giving you 3 times the normal amount of EXP for some reason. Bungie basically disabled that on moon bounties, but they didn't anywhere else in the game. So you can still go pick up repeatable bounties from anybody who offers them and get 3 times as much EXP. As
wow.
far as I know, Bungie hasn't addressed that one just yet, but I thought it was funny that because they patched that in like 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
They have been absolutely on it all week. The Widow's Walk thing was patched within a day. The repeatable bounties on the moon was patched in like 3 hours. Our buddy Jarv was here in chat earlier, made a video about it. I go to work. I literally come back from work and Bungie's like, "We've pushed out an update to disable repeatable bounties on the moon."
Yeah, I saw
You'd be
Aztec.
all
But
getting
they,
home.
Yeah,
man. And yeah, Astacross, he made a video about it too.
yeah,
But like they just did it for the moon, so it must have been a panic hot fix where they just go to moon. No, can't do that. Not realizing you could do it at the gunsmith, you could do it at Varix, you could do it with
yeah.
literally anybody who had repeatable bounties. I think even till right now, as of the time of this recording. So you want to go power level your season pass? There you go. Grab some stuff from Varix.
Um. So yeah, we've had that. How are you guys feeling about the sandbox and the weapons in Beyond Light, outside of the few that we've talked about so far?
Like, how do they perform?
Yeah, how do they perform? How do they perform? Also, how do you feel the sunsetting has come up a lot this week when it
Oh yeah.
comes to what has left the game, even some confusion about some things that haven't left the game.
Yeah.
What what are your guys' thoughts on that so far?
So stasis makes it a little bit hard to really tell, but
Yeah.
from what I can tell, a lot of the weapons feel really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like hand cannons, like for a controller user,
Mm-hmm.
they feel solid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And you can definitely notice like the range difference that it has now as opposed to it had before. Like I can successfully use a thorn in PvP now. As to prior, I really couldn't, because
Oh yeah.
if you weren't using a mouse and keyboard with a hand cannon on PC, you were just kind of like handicapping yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But hand cannons feel solid. Pulse rifles feel pretty solid. Auto rifles are just solid. Like honestly, it seems like just hypothetically speaking, if you were to just kind of like stasis out for like a bit,
Yeah.
like it would be a really, really good sandbox right now.
Solid meta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say feeling wise, a lot of the weapons feel darn good. Auto rifles didn't get too big of a nerf, so they still feel great in
Right.
PvP. I'm still finding myself maining an auto rifle in PvP. Although I've whipped out some hand cannons and had a lot of fun. You know, I got to play around with Stringer earlier today. Felt really good. Whipped out
Mhm.
my old Not Forgotten to check damage numbers on that. That felt really, really solid. So I'd say they've done a pretty good job when it comes to balancing the feel of the guns this time around. And I really don't have too many complaints there. There are a few
Mhm.
pulse rifles that have felt really, really good. The one we talked about earlier, the Stars in Shadow or whatever it is, the old homage
Yeah.
to the Hopscotch Pilgrim, feels really, really good. And it's nice to not see Mountaintop absolutely
Yeah.
everywhere.
God, I know, dude. Holy shit.
I had
There was this one guy that, like I ran into that was still just like hopping with stompies and mountaintop, and I'm just like, bro, let it go.
Let it go.
Froze him in space.
Yeah, dude. It's over.
It's over. I'm the king now.
Put it away, baby bird.
I had the
Nobody's
option to get Mountaintop because I hadn't ground out for it. I had the option
Right.
to get it and refused it.
On
just out of
principle?
pure principle. Out of
Just-
pure principle.
I couldn't hit the button and I couldn't hold it down long enough to add it to my inventory. It was I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
By the way,
Mhm.
hopefully you guys managed to buy Heir Apparent when it was available through the exotic kiosk.
I didn't have to, Nim, because I earned it the first time.
Yeah. We're not
Well,
scum.
you know what? You know what? I wasn't about to like play Guardian games. All right.
I
so-
did because the hunters were losing.
Well, y'all still lost, so
I had to
got a
do
fr-
my
I just got a
part.
free. I just got an Heir Apparent for just not doing anything. So whatever. But you can't get anymore, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because it was removed from the kiosk. So hopefully you guys were able to pick that up.
Why?
Apparently, it's going to be tied to a future event.
Mhm.
Which is dumb. Don't. It's too late. Look, you already put it
Gonna,
above
most likely going to be another Guardian Games or whatever
gonna be-
spring event.
Revelry or Guardian Games
Yeah.
2.0 or whatever. And you know what? Hold the L, Bungie. You had it up for sale. Some people bought it. Put it back in there. Make a new exotic. Just make a new exotic for a future
I'm
event.
actually really surprised
It's
how
good.
Heir Apparent really is.
It is
It's
fun.
Everybody
really, really-
sleeps on it.
yeah, it's super solid.
I used it in Shattered Throne against the ogre.
Oh yeah,
When I was doing a
As you
solo run,
should.
like you
yeah.
just get it going, and you have the overshield. You get pinged 3 times with the bolts, and that
Darts?
does nothing.
Does nothing to you.
And you're just sitting there ramboing away. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's a great exotic. I love it.
Another thing to mention that it was mentioned in chat. So once people started doing the Master Law sectors and they got their hands on Necrotic Grip,
Mhm.
the
Oh,
exotic,
yeah.
gauntlets for warlocks, that when you melee something, you'll deal poison damage, and if it kills, it'll start trickling towards whatever other ads are nearby. Players
Yeah.
found out that when you pair it with Thorn, Thorn was getting the trickle effect when you would kill
Oh,
with
wow.
it.
Oh, mama.
And Thorn was having the same effect, that it was doing the same exotic effect.
Oof.
So people naturally were like, "Oh my god, this is
Bugged.
amazing!" Like, yeah, it's like, this is amazing. Please don't fix this. And apparently on Reddit, Dylan confirmed that this is actually
It's a
supposed
feature.
to be working that way.
It's a feature, not a bug.
However, I, as an individual, refuse to believe that.
Yeah.
Say what you will. I think this might be just one of those happy accident types of moments.
Let's see where it goes.
But as far as official Bungie word is that this is intended. So if you can get that power level up so you can start soloing those master lost sectors and get those yes.
Yeah, I
Finish
just
your
hit
thought.
1230.
I was gonna
So
say,
I'm trying to
finish your thought.
farm those up.
That's a wonderful feature. I like that a lot.
Yeah. That's great.
You know where you can get the new exotics. It does punish people who held on to exotic Ingrams
Ingrams.
in
Mhm.
order
Yeah.
to get the new stuff. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Whatever,
I now know
that's
that I
fine, yeah.
don't need to do that ever again.
Yes.
And but the ability to go and do something and know what the immediate reward will be
Mhm.
for the challenge is wonderful in Destiny, and I want
Yes.
more of that.
So that's something that like has been my gripe with Destiny 2 for like the longest time,
Mhm.
because I've often touted the fact that in Vanilla D1 you had surefire ways to go and get endgame armor,
Yep.
which were exotics. It's like, hey, you want an exotic, go do a Nightfall or go raid. Like those were your only two avenues of getting that. And with this targeted activity that rewards you, like it's a difficult activity for a worthwhile reward.
Mhm.
And that's something that
Absolutely.
honestly has been missing from Destiny for like a really long time in my opinion. Like even raids, like even like I personally outside of power level, like I found most raids in Destiny 2 to just be kind of meh, except for like anarchy, raiding to get
Mhm.
anarchy or like 1000 voices. This is really good. Like this is awesome. Like
Mhm.
it's given me an incentive. It's like, oh shit, I really want that, those gloves. I need to get my power level so I can go and try and solo that for a chance at that. Like that is the kind of chase that you need to give your like, and like your whatchamacallit, your grinders, your
Yeah.
bounty goblins.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's definitely something I want to see more of moving forward. As Bungie continues to go on and produce new content, these legendary lost sectors, which was an idea they threw at us back in the what was it, the Warmind season with Saint 14 and whatever. I think
Yeah.
that was the first time they made legendary lost sectors, and they were awful back then. It's
Yeah.
much improved now. The system as it is right now is kind of like a solo-friendly version of the Ordeal Nightfalls. It's
Mhm.
smaller, it's self-contained, it is something you can do on your own, and once you get to a high enough power level, I'd say starting probably around the 1230 area, you can start grinding that out specifically for a chance at the new exotic gear. Great system. It's absolutely something Bungie should continue with.
Yes.
100%.
TBL, what power level are
Mhm.
you?
On my Warlock, I am 1231. On my Titan, I think I'm about 1232.
Okay, let me ask you this. How?
Honestly, doing all my powerfuls. I
Uh-huh.
forgot about some of my pinnacles, so I wound up doing those last on Warlock, and then just jumping over and playing Titan. And once I finished all my powerfuls and pinnacles there, I just started playing PvP. I was just playing Crucible.
So
Hmm.
Actually, hasn't been that bad.
have you been running comp or just reg Crucible?
Just regular. I haven't touched comp.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm like, I feel like I've outside of Nightfall and comp, which is a nightmare right now.
Wasn't that bad?
At least in my the experiences that I've had the last couple of days with freelance survival has been night and day over when it was first introduced, and
Yeah.
it like this is a problem outside of stasis in my
Mhm.
opinion. Like for me, at least with freelance survival, it's been absolutely horrible team balancing. Absolutely, like it feels like I get teammates that have never touched an FPS before,
Mhm.
or they're trying this crazy new challenge when they're playing with their feet, and like the other team is just this fucking like G Fuel snorting, cracked out like
Yeah.
team.
All of them have summoners.
Yeah,
Every last
yeah,
one.
all of them flawlesses and unbrokens,
Mhm.
and it's been the most like frustrating experience I've ever had with survival. Where to the point, like last night, I was like, you know what? No powerful is worth this right now.
Yeah.
And like I've had
Yeah.
so many people on Twitter, it's like just play 2 games, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. It's easy. It's not. It's the team balancing that is
And it's
the
not even a
issue.
pinnacle. Don't do it.
See, here's the thing.
No, it's not.
I had really good luck with my 3 games today. Like I felt like I was doing a little bit better than the blueberries around me, which is nice.
Right.
We got those 7 wins out of the way really quick overall, which was
Right.
just kind of nutty to me. And I was getting rewarded for ranks, not just for
Yeah.
like for
Yes.
valor, but also
Yeah.
for glory,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, like the powerful gear that took my Titan. My Titan is currently at 1211 when it comes to power. At base, it's 1219 with the artifact. That
Mhm.
bumped me up. I want to say like 3 or 4 like light levels just with the
Yeah.
amount of
Wow.
gear that I was getting in those few games.
I don't know if it's just because it's the start of the new season and everybody's like at that same early glory score,
Mhm.
but Jesus Christ, dude, like on a fucking stick. Like last night it was annoying. Like
Gotcha.
I typically have like some pretty solid patience for Crucible, and like whether I'm bad or like if I get like bad teammates, but holy shit, man. Last night was just like, no, okay, I'm out. I'm gonna
None
just
of
nope.
that.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope. Missed me with that powerful button.
Um,
But anyways, yeah.
yeah.
I'm like finding a struggle to power level that. So I'm like, how the hell are these people like 1030, 1040? Like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Dude, some people on my friends list are in like the 1260s, and I don't understand how.
God, man.
I don't know
Grinders.
how. Yeah, that's what they
they
do.
are.
It's wild.
Them bounty goblins, Zod.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do to survive. That's what I say.
Yeah, dude.
But all right, so I think that covers a lot about Beyond Light. It covers the
Mhm.
campaign, some of the things we'd like to see changed there. I feel like we wouldn't be doing our proper duty here if we didn't talk about this. And that is, of course, the notion of weapon sunsetting.
Mhm.
Is, as a lot of people will probably have noticed with Beyond Light, once you've completed the campaign, gone through some of those post-campaign missions, you start to notice that that loot pool is a little sparse. It's a lot of the same stuff you've been grinding out in previous years.
Mhm.
And indeed, a lot of things that we used to use have been sunset. Something like 75% of the loot pool
I
has been. Go ahead.
it was like 80 weapons got sunset and we got
Yikes.
30 in return.
Yeah. Including almost all of the legendary or the light machine guns. I think the
Mhm.
only legendary one that wasn't sunset was like what, the Seventh Seraph one? I think that might be
Yeah,
that
that's
might be the only one.
yeah,
And then,
that's
when you're getting bound, that presents a significant problem when you're getting bounties from Varix on Europa that require machine gun multi kills
Mhm.
against enemies that are like in the 1200s.
unless you don't have it is a problem if you don't have Thunderlord. If you have
Yeah,
Thunderlord,
Thunderlord, Xenophage,
yeah,
one of those exotics.
like
But I feel like this presents a problem that I was concerned with before Beyond Light came out, in that it's something we talked about even here on this show. If you're going to sunset things, you're going to arbitrarily take away things. And yes, when they make the weapons and stuff and gear that you're using useless outside of one game mode, that game mode being normal Crucible, that's taking it away from you. You can't take your old weapons and play Lost Sectors. You can't take your old weapons and play patrols or public events on Europa and any of that stuff. You can only really get your use out of it. Wake up, Nim. Wake your ass up. Don't sit there and pretend to be asleep because I'm shit talking Bungie. Don't be simping on my show. But I love you, dog. For real. Like
Hmm.
a vast majority of the weapons that we were using are now gone, and there isn't a replacement for it. That was the thing that I
Yeah.
was concerned with, that they were going to take away these weapons that we had been using and not provide a suitable replacement for them. And it's kind of come true. There's a lot of
Yeah.
submachine guns no longer usable. There's a lot of shoot. When I was doing some of my Varix bounties earlier in the week, it was like, okay, got to get some submachine gun kills and got to get some like void machine gun kills. All right, do I have a void machine gun? I do. I've got this nice, beautiful hammer. Oh, 1060.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I don't think this has worked out for the best, to be perfectly honest. If they had sunset these things and maybe brought in some other weapons, hell,
Yeah.
revised more weapons is what I was expecting. I was
That's
expecting more year one revised weapons coming back into the loot pool. We didn't get that.
right. That's what I was
We
hoping
got
for.
30 new things.
I
Yeah.
I was hoping for more of, like, if they were going to take those out, then I would want them to bring back old stuff with
Yeah.
new light
I would
level
have been
caps.
okay with that.
But you see, we have stuff that's dropping that have the arrivals icon on it still,
Right.
and that confuses the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like getting drops. I like getting drops. I wish I have a feeling that after we hit 1250, I'm gonna wish that those blues would go away forever.
Oh yeah.
But I was kind of surprised that they didn't dig back into the history of the game a little bit more and bring some stuff forward with just a new light cap.
Right? I
Mm-hmm.
was expecting more weapons being revised from year one, and I would have been fine with that. I mean, shoot, they brought back the Cosmodrome, and we didn't really spend any time talking about it. The Cosmodrome is
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. I love that it's back. Every time the new Disgrace Strike, which is the replacement for Omnigul, pops up, I get the biggest smile on my face. And I don't know if you guys feel the same, but when I run through that strike and I get to the last array section, it's like, this
I'm
hits a spot.
home.
I'm home, baby. I'm here. It hits a spot for me that Destiny 2 strikes generally don't. I don't get the same feeling from D2 strikes. And so I was kind of happy when they replaced Exodus Crash with the Disgraced as the Nightfall here. Because
Mm,
Exodus Crash can eat a dick forever. It can
yeah.
eat all of them forever. But, like,
I
shoot, you brought the Cosmodrome back. Bring some D1 weapons back into the mix.
Yeah.
Make some of those. It just doesn't feel like we got more than
Loot.
we lost. Well,
Yeah.
we certainly didn't get more than we lost there. It just feels like a lot of the things that we liked using, Bungie said, okay, well, now you can't use those anymore. Are we going to give us something
Yeah.
new? No.
Yeah. Fallen Guillotine,
Weird.
even with the nerf, is pretty strong.
It's still pretty good. I
Yeah.
haven't taken it off.
Me neither.
I think the only time I took it off was to do the Salvation's Grip quest to, blow up those little
Mhm.
shards.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
that was
So I
fun.
mean,
But
maybe it's just me. How do you guys feel about sunsetting? Do you think it's worked out?
I, like I said, I wish that they had brought a little bit back from the past. Not like 10. I don't even know how many weapons you. I was about to say 10, but at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I don't know. I really don't know. I was expecting to see more with the Beyond Light logo on it, but I know
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to get like 5 more items from Season of the Hunt. Is that
Season of the
correct?
Hunt. Yeah, I do believe
So
so.
that makes 35 weapons in the pool that that are coming in. I I'm hoping the arrivals thing is like a bug, like, or in that they're like, oh, sorry, we forgot to turn there's 2 switches that we forgot to flip. Hold on, thunk thunk, and like that's like we get more stuff coming in that isn't just the stuff that we got last season, but
Yeah.
I could stand to see that that's probably not the case. Nem, what do you think?
Honestly, I haven't given it much thought when it comes to like the sunsetting stuff. Um, I don't. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say when it comes to sunsetting. To be completely honest with you,
Yeah.
I haven't really given it much thought.
I feel that. I think ultimately with me, it just feels like this was a decision made primarily to get rid of pinnacles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody really makes an argument against that. It was to get you off of your evoker. It was to get you off of the recluse, the mountaintop, and all of that kind of stuff. And I wish they had left the sunsetting just to that. I
Yeah.
think I think there are plenty of new, interesting weapons that could have pulled me off of some of those old guns. Like we talked about it earlier, Coriolis Force is this entirely new fusion rifle that, again, condenses all of its shots into a perfectly horizontal beam. That's fantastic. It does amazing damage against bosses. That's a great special weapon to pull me off of something like the Recluse. That new rocket launcher Nim was talking about earlier that I didn't believe existed the first time you told me. It's like, wait, you told me about it. I was like, wait, isn't that just like what a normal rocket does? And then when you explained it's like a firefly effect on every enemy it destroys, that's incredible. That's
It's really
more than
cool.
enough to get me off of like my old LMG. I wish they would have introduced those new weapons, some of these fantastic new perks. Some of the new weapon perks are great. They're really powerful. And just sunset the pinnacles that were causing them problems. And because the way it feels right now, it feels arbitrary. Like there was no real reason for them to do it. It's not like having those older weapons in the game is holding anything back. If it were, they would have removed them from the game rather than just saying, "Oh, well, you can't use this out on patrols anymore." I don't know. Bums me out.
Yeah.
Before we move on to questions from the community, I have a question for you guys.
Right on.
I had several of these, and I kind of wanted to know what your thoughts were. What is the biggest thing in this DLC that kind of made you go wow, like that just surprised
Ooh.
and shocked you?
Honestly,
Yeah.
this is gonna sound kind of dumb, but the upgraded visuals and Europa.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The game looks a lot crispier. There's
Brighter.
more saturation in like the coloring of everything. The lighting and enhancements that they did and the
Oh yeah.
updates to the textures in game are pretty fucking incredible. And like when I set foot on Europa, like you can really tell when it's like daytime and like that, like the white and the blue hues from the ice like kicks in, and it's pretty fucking awesome. Like that was like I was like, oh my god, that's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can really tell the lighting changes in the tower too. Like the tower when I like floated in, I
It
was like,
looks
holy shit, the tower
completely
looks
different.
totally
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
That smooth traveler ball.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about the traveler coming back together. We didn't talk about that scene or anything at all. That happened on Monday.
It happened on Monday. There was a
Traveler's
neat
getting ready to dip, dude. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. I'm
It
calling
might
it
be
now.
trying
Traveler
to.
is sus.
Yeah.
The traveler's probably like, shit, the darkness is back.
Oh,
Peace,
Traveler.
man.
Absolutely sus. Read the lore.
Mm-hmm.
Traveler is absolutely sus.
Yeah.
It ain't the first time it's left the colony.
saw
It's
him
enhanced
vent.
before.
I saw him vent out past Venus.
Yep. Look. I don't care what kind of retcon a writing team tries to throw in. Rasputin was going to shoot that thing down, and he was 100% right to think about that. 100%. But that actually brings up a quick gripe before we go to questions that I had with the story. So the campaign for Beyond Light starts out with Zavala saying, all these planets have disappeared,
Mm-hmm.
but the Traveler's healed itself.
Great.
We don't know where these planets, or Sloan, or Asher Mir have gone. And then we just jump to Europa and it's never talked about again.
I was gonna say he
Like,
should ask the Drifter because it seems that you can still go to Titan and Mars. You just gotta ask the Drifter.
you just got to ask him. Yeah,
Yeah.
he okays it.
Yeah.
It's a
Can't you
little
see?
weird.
Can't you see Io from Europa?
I think so.
Maybe.
Because isn't like Io a moon of Jupiter?
Mm-hmm. think so.
Yes.
And isn't like Europa like just
Also a moon of Jupiter. Yes.
like yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I don't know
Hey,
what
so
the
you might
fuck.
be able
Like
to see it.
Ios is like probably like just chilling there in the sky
Yeah.
somewhere. I don't know. That is weird. That is super weird. I still don't fully understand what's going on there.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I
I
just
don't
felt
know.
like it probably should have been a bigger story element. Like
Mm-hmm.
those planets disappearing is the biggest event to happen in our solar system's history, even in the Destiny lore. Like entire worlds just disappearing. That didn't even happen in the Golden Age. That would I'd imagine for the Vanguard and for Zavala especially that would take precedent over a weird fallen doing spooky things on Europa. Like you never hear about it again. It's just like, oh, then the Traveler's Shield, by the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wait for next week.
this also brings the question: is Europa the second moon that is haunted?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just needed to ask that. TBL, what was something that wowed you in Beyond Light?
Oh man, there's so many things to congratulate Bungie on. I think they're Nim's right. Their design team did an amazing job on Europa. The landscapes look incredible. The new lighting system is fantastic. Some areas of the game look completely different now. I don't know if any of you guys have been to Nessus at all, but Nessus looks
No.
pretty
Mhm.
darn good.
I went for the
And
strike this week.
yeah, and like the Cosmodrome looks super good. The design team did a great job with all that. I'd say the thing that's made me wow more than anything else has probably been some of the lore. And I wish I could talk about it, but I absolutely can't without huge spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some really revelatory things as Nim cracks a smile there. There's some
Oh yeah.
real
Oh baby, there
revelatory
is.
things. Holy moly, big stuff is going on, and we learned some really incredible stuff about characters in this DLC, and
Yeah.
that's been pretty mind blowing. It's good writing, like they're wrapping things back. They're actually doing it. They're wrapping things back to the original story of Destiny One. Like, and
Yeah.
I don't just mean the story we got. I mean the story that was thrown away by Activision. They're wrapping back to that. It's
Mhm.
there's cool stuff, man. There's real cool stuff
There's
in
some
there.
real cool shit in there, dude.
Oh boy.
Uh,
Just wait for the raid.
I can't
Holy
wait.
Baba Mama. It's gonna be nutty.
I can't wait. Um,
I was gonna mention something. Shit. I'm blanking out now. God damn it. Go on, Dan.
okay.
Let me think about it.
A couple of things that wowed me in this DLC. The load times on PS4 are really stupid. Like they're awesome. They've gotten a
Yeah.
lot better. And I guess that's what happens when you take away half the game. Number two, there's a lost sector in which
Oh my god, the lost sectors.
the lost sectors are really solid all the way
They're
through.
great.
Um, the one where you go in and you are saving, or I guess you're not saving them, you're releasing Clovis Bray security bots.
The frames, yeah.
You're releasing those frames against the Vex, and I think there's like 10 or 12 that join you in that final boss room that just line the outside catwalk and are just shooting in at the boss while you're fighting.
Right. It's
That
so cool.
that was pretty amazing, and I was like, oh shit, are we gonna have that in, like, what if that's a mechanic in the raid?
Oh, I hope so.
What if this makes me, I posit this: we play a chess game with the frames, releasing them at different intervals in order to complete a puzzle. I posit this.
Oh my goodness. That'd be fantastic. I'd love it. Want it. I hope it happens.
Yes. Anyways, what was your thought, Nim? Circling
It's
back around.
gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
So long, train. Let's move into questions.
So long. Yeah.
I don't know how to say this. Twaun asks, would you take weapons with old models but with different rate of fire and different feel just to add more weapons into the loot pool and new releases if Bungie are struggling to make new models? So they would just change. They would just be reskins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're kind of getting anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take more of them.
I'd be into it.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think that's perfectly fine. That's really kind of what happens. Like I said already, with a lot of the weapons in the game, a lot of them are the same model, just with slightly different textures, a slightly different paint job, a different barrel, a different scope, stuff like that. I think that's perfectly fine. More is always better.
Mm-hmm. Nim?
I mean, yeah, just give me more stuff to shoot, and I'll shoot it with, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me more meaningful stuff to shoot with. This expansion has done that with a lot of the weapons.
Yeah.
That have come in.
I mean, I guess that was one thing that like a lot of people said too, that like a lot of the loot is just kind of like, you get it and delete it immediately. So they
Yeah.
condensed it, and
Yeah.
that's what we got.
But Coffee9 asks, do you think that we'll have to wait until next season to get legendary stasis weapons?
That is a good question.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question. Shit, man. Maybe, I don't know. They'd have to figure out like how to do it, because like, it's the new thing. I think there's only one weapon right now with stasis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, because like, I don't know, maybe, maybe, possibly,
Yeah.
knowing.
Good.
I was just saying, knowing Bungie, probably, because when they
Oh
introduce
yeah.
something new, they like they do it like one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember when they first introduced sidearms? It was
Oh,
the
yeah.
Dreg's Promise, I think, first, and then no, it was the
Right.
Vestian Dynasty first.
It
Vestian
was
Dynasty.
Vestian Dynasty.
And it was that was like the only sidearm that existed, and then they slowly started trickling more. And then the same thing with like trace rifles. The first one was Cold Heart.
Yep.
And then like a couple of expansions later, then you got the Prometheus lens and Wave Splitter. So it's possible that they'll introduce possibly a whole new archetype of a weapon for stasis. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, that would be cool.
That'd be cool. I think we will get more stasis weapons moving forward. For stasis legendaries, I don't think that'll be for a while. And if we do get it, I'd like to see that tied to raid weapons. I would want it to be raid weapons as stasis, rather than just tossing a bunch of new stasis things.
Lore wise, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I mean, that's what the Salvation's Grip is. It's an experimental weapon with stasis.
Yeah. And also like the additional abilities that you get are spoiler, kind of close braze experiments.
Yep.
With stasis. So that's how you hone it in. Radaka asks, how does everyone feel about no introduction of a new enemy race so far?
Man, I mean, the thing with introducing a new enemy race is that like you can't just shoehorn that in,
Yeah.
So like, as long as if they introduce a new enemy race, fine, but they have to do it right. And so far from what we know of the darkness is that it's not a race per se, as far as we know right now. It's just like this energy that kind of like is in those ships. So,
right.
Maybe there is maybe that energy can take form, and that's why they in that old concept of enemy races of D1s, like you see the wispy type of people that you see like in the moon.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe that'll be it, but I don't know. I'm like, again, they need to tie in finish a lot of these stories, in my opinion, before they start introducing a new enemy race. So I don't know. Maybe at some point the Fallen will no longer be an enemy race, and they'll be actual just like allies, because we're seeing that story. We're seeing that story being set up already with saving Fallen or Elixni from Europa, because they want to go join the House of Light with Mithrax,
right?
Which is cool as shit. That's dope. That's some cool fucking story, because you got Fallen going to Earth. You know?
Potentially to be welcomed,
Yeah.
And there's even some lines from Varys where he talks about Fallen potentially becoming Lightborn again. I mean, they're setting it up. They're narratively speaking, they are setting it up.
We also have to see what like that one cutscene with Zavala and Osiris with like the Cabal standing next to him is going to be like.
Yeah.
That could potentially be something there, or it could just be like a moment in time that Osiris is showing to Zavala. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what. But they need to properly do like an introduction to an enemy race instead of just kind of like.
They've also kind of built a timey-wimey backdoor in, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago, I think, where like Elsie Bray is talking about like in her original timeline, the darkness corrupted totally, including our guardian. And that we were susceptible to it as well, and so she was hoping to offset events so that it doesn't happen again. But they've built a timey-wimey backdoor in on top of Osiris's timey-wimey backdoor. So we've got two timey-wimey backdoors rolling.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
You know, there's this really cool thing that like randomly happens in the game that I actually think is a really neat kind of addition to just make the impact of stasis feel a little bit more like, you know, impactful. Is there's just been random occasions where your ghost will just start talking to you and be like, "Hey, dude, I'm sorry, I like overreacted." But you know,
yeah. We have 3 more questions, then we'll close it out for the night. Sound good? Is Nim still talking? Is he muted? Oh, I'm muted. Oh my God.
It makes stasis feel a little bit more of this gray line that you're kind of like teetering, and your ghost is feeling it. I think that was really neat because that was one of my biggest things. It's like, well, how's like ghosts gonna feel if we're using the darkness, and the way they're doing it is actually really cool. It's really really neat.
His literal antithesis.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to create an edit point there. Can everybody clap in 3?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
What happened?
Just a little bit of syncing, everybody.
I'm a dumbass. I still have a couple hotkeys set up for deafen and mute in Discord, and guess what happened while you were halfway through talking?
Oh, Audacity?
No, that was me. I'm gonna ask a couple more questions, and then we'll be out for the night.
Go for it.
MLs asks, do we think the raid will be completed in a Scourge of the Past timeline or a Last Wish timeline? So do you think it's going to take a couple hours for it to be cracked, or do you think it'll take about 24?
Oh, I have no idea.
I hope it takes about 24. It makes it interesting.
Yeah, it does make it interesting, but I mean, I don't think there's any real way to guess that. We don't know, whether it's going to be mechanic heavy, whether it's going to be encounter heavy.
Joe Blackburn is back, so anything's possible.
He's back. The king is back, baby.
Yeah. So
who knows?
They featured him heavily in those videos.
They did.
So it wouldn't surprise me. Gray Fox 2K30 asks, with 1 week past, do we need to hold back on passing judgment on a release, especially with a season kicking off with Season of the Hunt?
No, because you've had a week. A week is more than enough time to play something and decide whether or not you like it. The content that's coming next season is the content for that season. You can play that for a week and decide whether or not you like the Season of the Hunt.
I think this time it's easier to see the value proposition of the expansion.
Oh yeah,
over
absolutely.
Yeah,
over Shadowkeep.
Yeah. Shadowkeep, we had Undying release right next to it. This time around, we've had a week to settle into Europa, without anything else going on. I have felt like it's been a hectic week where like there's so much to do on Europa right now, but in a couple months, am I going to feel the same way?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and with Season of the Hunt, we'll see how much content that adds into the game.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to that timeline. Speaking of, I kind of wish that they had held the reveal of the crow until like the release or the trailer that they
Yeah.
released this week. If they had
Yeah.
just shown the sword going through the chest of the Hive Knight and then cutting away to our ghost
Something
going
else.
like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
Yeah.
that-
100% agreed.
Yeah. Would have been
Yeah,
so much more impactful.
I think they could have left that under the covers.
Mm-hmm.
I think honestly it was just done to like just quench the people's thirst. Like, yeah, we're doing something with him. Just take a look.
Just
Leave us alone. Just
stop
wait.
adding us.
Yeah.
Hey, where's Aldrin? When's Aldrin?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Last question of the evening. The most important question of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Kinsey 900 asks, "What version of a door did you all choose?"
Strikes, baby. Strikes.
All
Crucible.
the way. Yeah?
Yeah.
How'd you do with it?
How did I do with it?
Have you gotten it
Yeah,
yet?
are you?
How do you
you gotten
swing
it?
that thing?
No, I got it. It was all right.
Okay.
It
How
wasn't
long
too
did
hard.
it take you?
I honestly don't even know. I just like I was playing the game and it was like, oh hey, go pick up a door, and I'm like, oh,
Oh.
all right.
Nah, I went strikes. 100%
Mhm.
strikes. I just jumped I went over to the Dreaming City, loaded up Corrupted, immediately spawned inside the blind well because that's where
Oh,
everybody
wow.
is right now. And 20 minutes later, I had a door.
Pretty great.
Yeah, pretty easy.
Does it drop as
Easy
a
money.
powerful or pinnacle?
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
It dropped as a
It
powerful,
dropped. Yeah, it dropped 10 light above where I was.
Okay.
So definitely a worthwhile jump.
Gotcha. Okay. Sweet. I went strikes as well. I
Yeah.
haven't collected it yet, just for light gain purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what I
Easy.
went to. It's the easy path.
It's so easy.
You s-
Like I don't even know what the challenges for Crucible were for it, but like I was not looking forward to having to get like sniper precision kills against stasis people.
Mm.
That's
It wasn't
ultimately
too
what
bad.
kind of swayed my judgment. Really. So I'm
Yeah,
glad
it
to hear it
wasn't too
didn't take
bad.
that long.
No. Then again, I have a decently rogue beloved, so it wasn't
Yeah.
too hard.
Oh, so that's good. You used Beloved to get adored.
I
That
figured
worked.
it was only fitting.
That's almost poetic in a weird sort of way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
By
going
the
to
way-
use this sniper rifle to get it again.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
To,
wrap
to
I'm gonna wrap this
Yeah.
scarf around it real quick.
Yeah, it makes it an
can't tell.
entirely new gun. It's the weirdest thing. Like you take your sniper rifle, you wrap a scarf around it, and suddenly it's eligible to be, infused up to 1360.
Mm-hmm.
You got to
It's
change
the
the
weirdest
scope on
thing.
it too, don't forget.
Yeah, it does have a different scope.
That's like
Yeah.
that's like stacking two 13-year-olds on top of one another, putting them in a trench coat, and sending them in to go buy you beer.
I mean, whatever works, right?
Right.
I'm very happy here that nobody said the incorrect answer to this question, being Gambit.
Gambit.
I will.
I
say-
considered it. And then I remembered Xenophage as a thing. And then I was like,
It's-
you know what?
Okay.
No. And I went into PvP.
I will say I like the Gambit changes quite a bit, but we can talk about
Yeah.
that.
It's much faster.
Yeah.
It's much faster. Yeah.
Xenophage exists, and that's all you need to know from me.
And I hate that the Exo Stranger quest made me do Gambit 3 times. 3 times.
And I didn't mind as much. That was fine, but
Ugh.
like,
It took
because
you
again,
5
I was.
minutes.
That's 5 minutes I'm never gonna get back.
You weren't gonna use those for anything other than Gambit anyway. It's fine.
Oh no.
Real talk, the changes to Gambit is all right. Honestly, like I've
Yeah.
played a bit and just I miss traditional. I miss the maps that went away because those were my two favorite maps. Are the
Mhm.
ones that got
Yeah.
the boot.
I do miss
I think
the
the change. Yeah, I do think that the changes to the Primeval are pretty solid. They don't gatekeep by turning it immune.
Mhm.
The Moat drain is annoying, but it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It's not as heavy as I thought it was gonna be. What else? That's it. And Xenophage still exists, so you know.
It definitely does. It's definitely
Yeah.
still absolutely everywhere in Gambit.
Yeah.
And that
That's
is,
honestly like one of the only
oof.
things that like just detracts me from playing the mode. Really.
Yeah.
It's just Xenophage. Yeah. It just does not make invading fun.
Nope. And when you've got all the benefits of that invaders currently have, it's like as soon as that invasion happens, you know, all right, here it comes.
Yeah.
Xenophage one shot.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing too, that the PvP portion of Gambit has power level enabled. So if you know
Yep.
you go up against someone that's super high, that thing is gonna one tap you from like across the map. But
Nope.
anyways, it's Gambit.
Is that tied to power? It's tied to power level, right?
Invasions
Yeah.
are
Okay.
Invasions.
the PvE
So.
portion of Gambit. It's not.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Was that the last question?
That was the last question.
Well, all right, then, gentlemen. I do believe that brings us to the end of episode 261 of the Planet Destiny podcast. We got a lot of stuff in on this episode. I think we gave pretty good wrap up of the first week of Beyond Light. We've got a lot more content to cover in the coming weeks. Of course, next week we've got Season of the Hunt officially starting with there's like some new activity that's going to be coming with that
The
I'm very
Wrathborn hunts.
yeah, Wrathborn hunts. I wonder how those are going to differ from the normal Empire hunts and what the new gear that's coming along with that is going to be like to use. Very interesting stuff. But all right, everybody, before we get on out of here, of course, we're going to let you know where you can find us all across the internet, starting with the one, the only, the man with the perfect hair, Mr. Nim Plays. Where you at, buddy?
Same places as you can always find me, twitter.com/nimplays. You can probably see some you're probably gonna see some bullshit from me with abusing Shadebinder. And
I hope so.
dude, so like Shadebinder, sure, but man, I am having a blast with Behemoth, man.
Yeah.
That melee is so satisfying to use. It's so good. Most of the kills that I've gotten with that melee is literally just bonking people straight into a wall and just seeing them hit the wall and just bounce like a million feet away. Dude, it's so good. It's so much fun. But yeah, that's where you can see stuff like that from me. If you want to chat with me, you can find me there too, bud. There you go.
Right on, right on. Looking forward to the Twitter clips of the Shadebind nonsense. I better see at least one team wipe. At least one.
I'm working on it. That super's so slow.
It is very slow. Holy moly. Dan, what about you, man?
Oh, hi. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Danfinity, where the eyes are else. You can also find me on Twitch 3 days a week, twitch.tv/Danfinity. Guys, I got the clear to go for a day one raid. So I think I'm going to be doing that.
Ooh,
I'm going to be announcing
nice.
the team here very shortly. I am going to be scurrying to make that 12:30 cap. But we'll have to see. It should be pretty fun.
I believe in you. I mean, if I was able to get to the 12:30s and just two characters casually playing, you can definitely do it.
Okay.
I believe in you.
Sweet.
I think our buddy, also co-host here, Aura, is going for a world's first raid run as well. That's actually what he's off doing right now, grinding it out, trying to get his way up to at least base 12:30. Because for contest, your artifact's not gonna matter, right?
Nope, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't use that artificial bumped up light there. It's going to be real fun to watch that next Saturday. But everybody, of course, my name is The Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at The Black Link. This week, going to be going back to the old Destiny 2 Beyond Light streams. Had a few of those last week. They were a lot of fun. And as we hit reset and get into the Season of the Hunt, I'll be streaming a lot of that content live on my channel over on Twitch. Make sure you stay tuned for all that kind of stuff. And of course, for news videos, you can peep those over at the Planet Destiny YouTube channel at youtube.com/Planet Destiny. But all right, that is it for this one, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in to episode 261 of the Planet Destiny podcast, your guide to this week in Destiny. We'll catch you on the next one. Love your faces. We're out.